The Activities module will allow you to create activities, schedule activity sessions, and control the number of tickets that can be sold per session. You can manage activity bookings, whether these are linked to a holiday customer or as a standalone customer. So on this swimming activity, you can see I've got adult and child tickets. Adults costing £10, child tickets costing £6.50. And you can also see I've got sessions running every 45 minutes on the 2nd of March. If I go into one of these sessions, you can see already I have one booking. If I want to make an additional booking for this session, I can add an activity booking with tickets and select how many tickets I would like to sell. I can then enter the customer's details. I can then also add details for each of those tickets. I can now take payment for this booking. And now I can print off the tickets to give to the customer. From my role centre, I can see how many activity bookings I've got for the day, the week and the month, and also how many sessions I've got. If I need to cancel a particular session, I can come into the sessions. I can remove and refund any bookings that have been assigned to this session, and then I can cancel the session. If I then want to increase the number of tickets that can be sold on a session in the future, again I can come into the session card, increase the tickets here, and update the tickets on the sessions. I can also see from each of the individual sessions how many tickets have been sold, and I can drill into that number of tickets to see the participant information. You can also manage activities and bookings using the matrix. So I could filter here by activity type, so water sports or fitness, and it will filter the options for us. So I can see on the 2nd of March all my activities that I've got by location and by park. From here I can select the activity that I want to book. And then I can add a booking. And then go through the rest of the process, as I showed before.
Booking accrual report. Within the system, we have added a booking accrual report. This report can be run based on a number of different filters and can be run on an end period of your choosing. The report will allow you to see bookings departing in the next month but arriving in the current month and accrue those according to the number of days where the booking covers the current month. The report can be run singly just to show you the results, but you can also toggle the Create Journal option. By toggling the Create Journal option, you will see that the lines produced from your report will also be reflected in a journal in the background using the Sales Direct Posting group setup at the point of running the report. So if we head to now the journal, to see my accrual journal, you'll see each of those lines have been posted in here and the amounts shown. Each line description will also contain the booking number and will state that it is accrued income. And as you see, this will also take into consideration any extras that are charged through as well. And these will also appear on the report. Changes to the owner's sublet report. Now, when running the owner's sublet report, you are now able to hide the customer's names. So, for example, if I set my parameters to produce my statement, tick this field, and then I preview, you'll see my resulting report. The names of the customers have now been replaced with asterisks. We've now added the field source to maintenance jobs. From a maintenance job card, you can look at the field source here, and that will indicate where the maintenance job has been generated from, whether it has been imported or made manually. You are also able to filter on the maintenance job list by the field source. We have now added the ability to see all deleted deals from the deleted deals list. If you navigate to deleted deals, this view will now show you all deleted deals, and it will show you the type of deal that was deleted, giving you full audit history on the deals deleted and meaning you can tie up your number series. Added the ability to show only triangulation specific dimensions on the triangulation dimension field on a journal. From within dimensions, we have added, alongside your dimension values, a tick box to suggest whether or not this is also a triangulation dimension as well. This means that when looking at a journal and this field for triangulation dimension, when you look at the field for triangulation dimension code on the actual journal form, the values shown will only be those that you have ticked within the dimension value setup. This then provides better management of intercompany transactions, ensuring that the user can only select dimensions relevant to intercompany. Added the ability to insert a bank account when inserting balancing lines. From your journals now, you are able to add in balancing lines, and the option is now available to add in a bank account. So from our journal here, you can go to Process, Insert Balancing Lines, and you'll now have the option to select between a range of balancing account types, but also now bank account. So from within here, I can select my bank account, and then that will produce my summary line. Added Advanced Contact Creation Mode. Within Lead Management Setup, you now have the option to toggle between Simple and Advanced Contact Creation Mode. Assigning to Advanced will give you this default contact auto-assign profile code to fill in. This code has the sequence by which your contacts, when created, will be checked, and also provide you with an area to assign a contact that will be selected if a record is added and it has similar details to another contact in the system. In the advanced contact creation mode, you will also have a different way of entering the information on a booking card, for example. What you will see is that you have the ellipsis next to the name here. If you select this, this will provide you with the fields to add in your customer's details. When I finish entering the details and press OK, I'll then be prompted with another window which will alert me to any other contacts in the system that potentially match with my record. If I can see that clearly I've added a record that is already existing, I can simply select the line, i.e. this one here, press OK, and it will assign this contact reference against this booking. If there were no matches and the details were all new and there was nothing that it found in the system, it would simply create a new contact for your booking card. Updated EP role centers. To help improve the standard role centers, we've added this general tab to many of the EliteParks role centers, which provides quick access to point of sale, booking availability, booking matrix, event booking availability, event booking matrix, and find activity availability. This should hopefully reduce the need for personalization and allow for quicker navigation through the system. Added resource number on the multiple jobs creation. When you run the multiple job creation routine, you now have this box here which allows you to assign a resource to those jobs. So we can set up our boiler service, give it its description, who it was reported by, the type of job we are creating, and assign a resource here. Now this means that all of the jobs that are created will be assigned against this resource number. So I can now manage and insert my units here. And then when I create these jobs, if we view the maintenance job cards, you'll see we have two jobs created for boiler service, and they both have the R0010 assigned resource number that we selected as part of the creation routine. Added the ability to manually cite units which are not on plots. From the unit now, if you have a unit that is currently not cited or has been moved off-site but needs to be moved back onto a plot, you can now look to move this onto a plot. From the actual unit card itself, if you drill through, underneath Actions, there's an option to manually cite the unit, and this will allow you to select the park and the plot that you need to put this unit onto. Please note that this will be driven by permissions, so only users who have the permission within their EliteParks user setup will be able to complete this task. The system will now post site tasks with the work date for your posting date as opposed to the current date. You can change your work date by clicking on the cog in the top right hand corner, heading to My Settings, and entering the field here for workday, so I can select the previous day. If I do so and now go to Site Tasks, this site task that's set up here for this previous day, I can complete this and this will now be posted with yesterday's date as opposed to today's. So I can post this here. And then if I navigate to posted site tasks, we can see that the posting date for this is the 23rd of the 2nd, following my work date. Tow on, tow off functionality. This feature allows the customer to manage booking site tasks against the customer to allow for better management of their storage customers. The process is designed to streamline the creation of site tasks required for when a van is moved from storage for a booking. The first place you will set this up is against the owner card, and under Related you'll find Booking Site Tasks. In this tab you'll be able to see the site task type, the due date source, the due date offset, and also whether or not to use the booking plot or not. As you can see in this example here, I've set up connect gas, tow off, and tow on as site task types, so that these will be generated once a booking is made against this customer's unit. Using the due date offset, you can add in a day calculation to when you want these site tasks to be generated for. So if the booking is arriving on the Monday, you may want the Sunday to be the day in which the gas is connected, ready for the arrival on the Monday. Therefore, using the due date offset, you can set this so that the creation of this task will always be 1 day prior to the arrival date. You will also be able to select whether or not to use the booking plot as the reference for where the site task should be based to and from. And you have full customization of this table and can add in as many site tasks as you need for connecting a storage unit. Within Booking Management Setup, you can also set when the site task will be created, so either on the booking being tagged or being confirmed. Heading now to our booking, you'll run through the normal booking process to create your Tora booking. You must ensure that when you create your booking, the contact number you select is the contact number of the owner's van that is being used in this touring booking. If it's not connected and you do not select the right contact number, the site task will not be generated. You'll then find underneath Related Site Tasks, and this will show you the site tasks that have been generated for this booking. These will allow your siting team to be able to complete these and action these in advance of the holiday taking place. Added last updated date time to park prices. If you head to the Ho Seasons Park Prices page, you'll see we have now a column, last updated date time, and this will hold the date and the time that these prices were last updated, giving customers better visibility and improved reporting analysis. Added the ability to allow date-driven Ho Seasons plot and unit mapping. From within the Ho Seasons plot mapping table, you're able to select a start and end date for each mapping. What this feature allows you to then do is have multiple supplier and unit codes to be mapped to pitches, and the dates of the booking will decide which mapping is used. So when the API is called, it will look to this table, find the dates, and return the service and unit code required. Added URL endpoint to setup page. From within the Play It Green setup page now, the users now have visibility on the endpoint from within this view, and they can clearly see the URL endpoint here. Added last updated date time field to the Rentals United unit entity setup. If you head to Rentals United mapping, from this view now there is a column called last calculate prices date time, and this stamps when these prices were last updated. From within the actual prices themselves, if I drill through, they also have the stamp of the last updated date time against these lines. SagePay tokenization process. From within the payment gateway setup, you now have under tokenization the ability to enable safeguard details. Flagging this on will give you the ability to tokenize card details for customers. From the booking card, if we head to process to complete our point of sale, and we select the payment method of SagePay, we'll be presented with the screen to enter the card details and the customer's address For this, I will enter test information. And then there is a toggle down the bottom here that allows you to save the card details. If I tick this and I press OK, what will happen is we'll take our payment through SagePay. And against the actual booking card itself, underneath the Related tab, there is an option here for saved cards. And within this view, you'll see any saved cards that have been logged against this booking. Now, if you go to take an additional payment against this booking, to the remainder of the balance, for example, we can receive this. And it will prompt you to say, do you want to pay using the saved card details? If I select yes, it will just bring up this same screen again just to show you the details that it's brought through. And you do still have the option to swap back here if you needed to. And if I press OK, it will simply take our payment against that tokenized card. It is important to note that the tokenization will sit against the booking card itself, not against the customer, and this is the same for events and activities. SagePay security deposits for all process. From within the payment gateway setup, you now have access to enable security deposit. This will allow you to be taking security deposits against both bookings, events, and activities. The details for the security deposit will be held at various levels through the system. You can, within Booking Management Setup, apply this option to allow security deposit being required for unit bookings and security deposit being required for plot bookings, and specify the amount that the booking needs to take as a security deposit. From here, you will also set up a security deposit claim POS item. This is so that when you do claim a security deposit, it will be posted correctly in your financial entries. You can also set up auto capture, which is available from this setup too. Against the park card, you can also set up the security deposit requirements. You see here under the Booking Files tab, you can allow for a security deposit against a unit and a security deposit against a plot. Setting this against the park means that only bookings made against this park will require a security deposit. It's also worth noting that if you enter in a default unit booking security deposit amount, that this will override that value set in the booking management setup. You can also choose to specify the security deposit against the grade. From within the grades table, you can see along the line there is a field for requires security deposit. You can tick this field and also enter in the default security deposit amount. Please note that if you enter a security deposit amount in here, this will override both the park and the booking management setup. When you produce your booking against the park or specific grade that has your setup for requiring a security deposit, you will receive this message along the top ribbon that suggests that this booking does require a security deposit. That means that you will not be able to check this booking in until a security deposit is taken. To take the security deposit, from along the top ribbon underneath Actions, there is a drop down for security deposit. And from with here, you can capture that security deposit. If I select the option and enter in my user PIN, and then the payment method of SagePay, I can capture this security deposit. Through this process, you can also, if you have it enabled, save the card details for the tokenization for use for future. So now I've captured that security deposit, we will be able to check this booking in once it's been paid. If I want to view that security deposit payment, if I look under Related and go to Security Deposits, you can see it lists the payment that was captured and the date and time when it was captured. If the method used was SagePay, it means that the payment won't actually have physically been taken, so no POS entries will be detailed off the back of this transaction. What will have happened is an instruction sent to ring fence those amounts so that when the deposit is either claimed or returned, that then the actual payment will be taken and posted to the system. To return or claim this payment, what we can now do is if we return to the booking card, and again underneath the actions option for security deposit, we can either claim or return the security deposit. If I choose to return this, I'll need to enter in my user PIN, which depending on my EliteParks user setup will prevent or allow me to complete this action, and then I can return this money. It will pop up with the transaction ID as well as the description, which should contain the card details. And this will now return the security deposit to the customer. If you wanted to claim part of the security deposit, you would follow the same process underneath actions and then claim security deposit. This is where you'll be prompted again with your PIN, but also the amount you wish to claim. So for example, you may only want to claim a portion of the security deposit back. You'll also see listed as well is the POS item set up against your management setup. This POS item will code your amount claimed to the correct codes. So if I enter in my PIN here and I'm claiming the full amount, this will now post the POS line and process for that card. Again, you can see under related and security deposits all the details for this. So you can see that this payment that was made has now been claimed and the amount that was claimed. It will also give you a returned amount if the amount claimed does not match the captured amount.
There are already restrictions in place to ensure that if you want to delete a general ledger account, that general ledger account must balance to zero and the financial year must have been closed to prevent any future entries from being added to that account. This functionality has been extended to include some options in general ledger setup. So where you have a start date of historic data that you need to store in relation to your financial records, you can enter the date in this check GL account deletion after field. Then if we also switch on this option to block the deletion of general ledger accounts, as well as checking that the balance is zero and that the financial year has been closed, it will also check to make sure that it doesn't delete any postings after the specified date within general ledger setup. Payment reconciliation journals have been improved. So now when the journal is being completed, you're able to see both debit and credit values. You also have an option from here to preview posting, as with similar areas already within EliteParks, where you can preview the financial posting before you commit to that posting happening. Check documents and journals in the background allows you to get early indications of any error messages that may prevent postings on both documents and journals. For journals being posted, this feature firstly needs to be switched on in feature management under check documents and journals while you work, and this can be enabled for all users. Then in general ledger setup, the enable data check feature should also be switched on. Once this has been switched on, if we look at creating a general journal, we can see this journal check fact box has now been added. And from this journal that I've created, I can see that 2 lines have been checked and 2 lines have issues. And I can also clearly see the issue on both of those journal lines, which in this situation is that a part code hasn't been selected in order to post the journal. For posted documents, this needs to be managed on a user by user basis within my notifications. And in order to make that fact box visible, a user would need to enable the feature themselves within my notifications. And the notification to enable is show the document check fact box. Once that's been enabled, if we look at a purchase invoice, for example, again, we can see this check document fact box that has been added, and I can see that there is an issue again in this situation because a part code hasn't been selected in order to post the purchase invoice. Consolidate customer and vendor balances starts with the ability of being able to create a vendor record that is linked to a customer or a customer record that is linked to a vendor. And to do this, starting with the vendor card, I can navigate to the related contact. Then in my actions and functions, I have an option to also create this contact as a customer. Once the vendor and customer have been created and invoices have been posted to each of them, from both the customer record and the vendor record, you then get visibility of the balances. So if we start by looking at the customer, I can see the balance on the customer side as well as the balance on the vendor account. And likewise, if we then open the vendor account, I can also see the vendor balance as well as the customer balance. Another advantage of this feature then is when creating a payment journal. So if you're looking to pay any outstanding vendor balances, the normal process to follow would be to suggest vendor payments. Once you've linked both vendor accounts and customer accounts, there is an added step that you can carry out before choosing to suggest vendor payments, and this would be to net off the customer and vendor balances. So using that example of my vendor account for ABI, so we know that there's an invoice on the account that's outstanding. We also then have a customer account that has a £300 balance on there. When I run this option to net the customer and vendor balances, this is now creating a journal for me, posting to both the vendor and the customer account to clear down that £300 invoice that was due to be paid on the customer account and transfer the balance over to the vendor account. Meaning that if I post this journal before then creating my suggest vendor payments, the suggest vendor payments would return a value due to the vendor £300 lower due to the fact that we've chosen to net the balances off between the two accounts. Deferral postings now include more control to ensure that users can post outside of the current period for solely deferrals and not for normal day-to-day transactions. There's also some changes in the way that you can schedule deferrals as well. So if we firstly look in General Ledger Setup, so you have the allow posting from and to dates, which can be used as the global posting dates for all users within EliteParks, we now have these two additional fields to allow deferral postings. So for any users that may need to post deferrals outside of the current period, you can set this at the global level here in General Ledger Setup. The alternative, as with the old way of managing posting from and to dates, is to do this in User Setup, which now again also includes the options to set the allow deferral posting from and to dates. And in addition to that, against deferral templates, within the deferral schedule options, you now also have the option for the start date of that deferral to be set as the beginning of the next calendar year. Payment reconciliation journals have been improved. So now when the journal is being completed, you're able to see both debit and credit values. You also have an option from here to preview posting, as with similar areas already within EliteParks, where you can preview the financial posting before you commit to that posting happening.
New capabilities for financial reporting with account schedules. Account schedules are the main tool for creating user-defined financial reports. Within this latest release, there's additional capabilities for these account schedules that make it easier for people to produce reports in the layout that they desire. In addition, from the account schedules view here, you are able to now import and export account schedules, which means you can move these between a test system and a live system. From within the actual reports themselves, from within the account schedule view, you can now, within the totaling column, use GL account category as a totaling expression, such as assets. When looking at the account schedule overview, you can now see that headers and begin totals are also now kept in the printing structure. You can now also control how the number 0 is printed in these reports as either a 0, dash, or blank. The account schedule overview also now supports 15 columns to allow you to have a full view of 12 months and a total.
New to EliteCRM, Release Wave 1 2022. The EliteCRM additional API functionality. This allows our EliteCRM Diamond customers who are currently utilizing the owner API within EliteParks to push leads directly to EliteCRM as long as lead process mode is set to Dynamics 365, which is EliteCRM. This allows you the ability to not have to rebuild your API to EliteCRM directly and can utilize your already created and utilized owner API functionality. In addition to the new features, we have also added the ability to set your contact preference processor to Dynamics 365 EliteCRM. This allows for better integration with your external marketing product, and we've also added the ability for data take-on to sync all of your current contact preferences within EliteParks to EliteCRM. With the new modern advanced find coming with the Release Wave 1 2022, you will now have the ability to manage all of your views, create and modify your views, share your views, all from within the Dataverse search from any screen within EliteCRM. This will also allow the ability to assign, share, and directly email contacts from within the Dataverse search. This replaces the old advanced find feature in the top right-hand corner. for the new feature, which you can create and join Teams meetings from an appointment record directly within EliteCRM. You will now see on the appointment record that you can directly set the Teams meeting to yes, which, as in Microsoft Outlook, will add in the Teams URL so that your attendees can join via your normal Teams meeting link. Once created, you will also be able to join a Teams meeting directly from the appointments record. Once the record is saved and you go back into the record, you will also now see the Teams meeting, and you can now join the Teams meeting directly from the appointment. For this release, we have enhanced all of the charts within all of the standard entities within EliteCRM. For example, in the bookings area, you will now see a much wider range of all of the standard charts that will come as standard with EliteCRM. Bookings by month and park, where you can see account. Bookings total price by added user ID. And bookings revenue by grade and count as a couple of examples. We've also done this across all of the new areas that we released in the end of 2021, where for maintenance jobs, you will be able to see overall value by status, your POS receipt lines. You'll be able to see some standard reports like daily transactions by park, transactions by payment method, and transactions by type. All of these charts are available as standard, and remembering you can utilize these charts with any of your standard views to get the date ranges that you need.